Hello and welcome to my channel. As cloud infrastructure becomes the backbone of modern enterprises, ensuring the security of these environments is paramount. With Amazon Web Services still being the dominant cloud provider, it is important for any security professional to know where to look for signs of compromise. AWS CloudTrail stands out as an essential tool for tracking and logging API activity, providing a comprehensive record of actions taken within an AWS account. If you are new to this channel, I am Bill Osolinski, a certified information systems security professional with 30 years of experience. One of the first signs of a potential security breach is an unexpected increase in API requests. CloudTrail logs every API call made within your AWS account, including who made the call, when it was made, and from where. An attacker with stolen API keys might initiate a large number of requests in a short time frame, either probing the account for information or attempting to exploit certain services. Also, AWS strongly recommends avoiding the use of the root account for day-to-day operations due to its high level of privileges. Any access to the root account, especially if API keys are associated with it, are being used, is a significant red flag. What to look for? A sudden and characteristic surge in API activity. API calls from unusual IP addresses, particularly from regions where legitimate users do not operate. Access attempts to a wide variety of services, especially if they are not typically used by your organization. Note that guard duty, if enabled, will automatically flag these kinds of events, but you have to be watching to find them. API calls made with the root account credentials, especially if the root account is not typically used, and changes made to account level settings, such as modifying billing information or account configurations. Attackers may create new access keys to establish persistent access to the compromised account. Monitoring CloudTrail logs for the creation of new access keys is crucial, especially if these keys are created for accounts that typically do not require them. Also, AWS allows users to assume roles, granting them temporary credentials for specific tasks. Monitoring unusual role assumption patterns is vital, as an attacker might assume roles to pivot within the environment. What to look for? Creation of new access keys for IAM users, particularly those who have not needed them before. Immediate use of newly created access keys, which would indicate an attacker is testing or utilizing these keys. API calls related to create access key, list access keys, or update access key. Unusual or frequent assume role API calls, especially to roles with elevated privileges. Role assumptions from IP addresses or regions not typically associated with your legitimate users. And role assumptions that are not followed by actions inconsistent with normal business operations. Amazon S3 is often a target for attackers, given that it can store vast amounts of potentially sensitive data. Monitoring CloudTrail for unusual access to S3 buckets is essential in detecting compromised API keys. Also, an attacker may attempt to move data out of your AWS environment. CloudTrail logs can help detect such exfiltration attempts, especially if the data transfer patterns are unusual. What to look for? API calls related to list buckets, get object, or put object for buckets that do not typically see such activity. Large-scale data downloads or uploads to and from S3 buckets, especially if occurring outside of normal business hours. Access attempts to buckets that store sensitive data, such as backups or confidential files. Large data transfers from services like S3, Relational Database Service, or DynamoDB, especially to external or unknown IP addresses. API calls related to services like AWS DynaSync or S3 transfer acceleration that are not typically used in your environment, and attempts to create or modify data replication configurations such as those involving S3 cross-region replication. Security groups control inbound and outbound traffic to AWS resources. An attacker might modify these settings to open up additional attack vectors, such as enabling SSH access from external IP addresses. What to look for? Changes to security group rules that allow inbound traffic from IP addresses outside your trusted network. API calls related to authorized security group ingress or revoked security group egress that do not align with normal operations. and the creation of new security groups with overly permissive rules, such as allowing all inbound traffic on common ports. That's all for this presentation. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel. And thank you for watching.